Hey everyone. So I'm going to do the Council of Seven VR to or Ouroborus, I think is how it's pronounced. And it's basically the idea that you take who your tarot decks and decide who your seven council tarot decks are. I don't really have enough decks to just do it with either seven oracles or seven tarot. So, and I don't, well, I have more decks, but I haven't worked with them all yet. I just have them, but I haven't really done any readings with them. So I just chose out of the ones that I've done readings with. And I really like the idea of seven because it plays into the fairy the fairy stuff that I'm working with, and the septagram, which is the fairy star, and each point represents something specific. So what I did was I interviewed each one of my decks that I was working with and asked them which of the points in the council they would be, either earth, air, fire, water, above, below, or within. And so now I have them each in front of me, and I'm not going to show you the whole decks. I'm only going to show you the card that they gave me to say that which council member they were, okay? So, and I have oracles and tarot mixed together here, so no big deal, right? And if it is, well, I don't know what to tell you. It's just the way it's going to go. Anyways, for those of you who know that I put my ferrets down, they went down yesterday at about 3:30 in the afternoon. So it's been kind of rough, and I figured that doing this challenge would help provide me something fun to do that's not thinking about them and all the things I need to do to clean up after everything. So anyways, so here's my council of seven. So up first is earth, and I consider that my grounding and my basic idea of earth is grounding to me. It's the idea that you got your feet firmly planted somewhere and stuff like that. So interestingly enough, I chose Shadowscapes chose earth, and Shadowscapes is the deck that I connect the most with. And you would think that would be my soul deck or my within deck. And while it might kind of be my soul deck, I can understand why it chose grounding. And so here it is. It chose the strength card. And funny enough, my number for numerology, for my path number and everything, is 8. And so it's really fitting. And the strength card really represents that idea of grounding for me, because it talks about how, there's got to be a sense of stability there. There has to be a sense of, courage, strength, that calmness to have this unshakable resolve to complete the things that you need to complete. And I feel like that is totally grounding, and I can see why Strength and Shadowscapes chose grounding for me. So that's my first council, would be Shadowscapes Strength as my grounding council. My next one is air. Now air is, I see that more as my hopes, my dreams. I don't consider it necessarily like a higher self, but it's the idea that I want to soar, I want to go out, and I want to do things. And so this card, the deck that chose this one, was my Faery Wisdom deck by Amy Brown. And the card that came out was Magnolia. Hopefully, there you go, Magnolia. And she really represents the idea of focus, and being able to focus on something so you can complete it, so you can make it a reality. And kind of works on the idea that if you focus on a hope or a dream or something like that, then you can make it a reality. So she's my reminder that air-wise, and of course she's fairy, so she flies with her wings. Yeah, wings, ha. I'm here. But that focus is going to bring my dreams into reality once I start doing that. So she's my focus, she's my air, my reminder that I can put things into reality for myself, my counsel for that. The next one is fire, And I chose this fire out, for me, is like the passion, like the burning passion to whatever. I mean, whatever happens to happen. And I got this one. The Hidden Realms deck is what chose fire. And Hidden Realms is another Fae kind of deck. And what came out for me was Two of Wands. And it's the idea that the Two of Wands in the Hidden Realms is fire based, of course, but it's also it's the idea that I have to find my passion in order to go for it. So they're my reminder of what my passion is. So they're my fire. They're my fire point in the fairy star, and they're my passion point. They remind me of all the things that I'm working towards and the things that I want to accomplish, which is why I put it after air. Water is coming from my oracle deck, the Garden Dragons, and it is the Corn Dragon. The Garden Dragons chose water. Isn't he pretty? So this one has to do with like emotions for water. So for this card right here, it talks a lot of like a gathering, because corn is grown in a field together. So there's a sense of community, a sense of connection, a sense of family and friends coming together. And my emotions run high in family and friends. I get completely connected to them emotionally. And so this is my reminder that I need to hold on to those relationships and pay attention to that as well within my emotions, and maybe not even go a little overboard, to recognize that I don't need to go overboard either. So they can go both ways for me. So that's the next point in my fairy star 7. And the next one is, let's see, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th point in the star for me is going to be above, which is like my higher self. And the Fairy Lights Tarot is what chose to be in the above position. And it is the Ace of Wands. I found this interesting because the tree is growing up. Now, this is a very intuitive deck for me. So the tree is growing up, and it's growing up into that higher sense. And there's the idea that, if you nourish a tree and stuff like that, then it grows higher and higher and higher, and it gets older and older and older. And there's definitely that tip-top high point for it on the top of the tree. But I also did look at it in the book so I can better understand like how it would put itself into that higher sense for me, that above position. And what came out was that it's like the idea that I have a lot of creativity in me, and that tends to come from my higher self, from the above position, and that in order to keep that creativity flowing, I have to tend to it, which means I have to make it happen. I have to encourage it to keep flowing and keep, make sure I'm watering that idea of my higher self, where I want to be, where I want to go in that higher sense. And I do feel like maybe that my higher self is telling me, hey, get to work. Water that tree so that you can grow to become me. That's how I kind of view it. And so the Fairy Lights Tarot is also interesting because, and why I think they're intuitive, is because they have the illustrator, the person who created the art, created like one solid art piece, cut it in half so it has a secondary half to the art. I didn't pull the card because I didn't need to, but I thought I would tell you because I find that so fascinating. And when you're doing readings with it, it really does provide an extra element that you hadn't considered before. So if you haven't done the Fairy Lights Tarot, using their secondary card, their partner card, try it out because it does give you a different sense of the reading, and I really enjoy it. All right, and then the next one I'm going to do as my 6th one is below. And I kind of view this as the side that I don't always want to look at, the side that is the truth, the side that, like the darker sense of myself, the things I don't want people to see and stuff like that, but I still need to be reminded of so that I stay humble, so that I stay in line with who I want to be. And so the Joie de Vivre is the one who chose to be my below, and it's reversed, okay? and it is the Four of Wands, and I read it in the reversed position, which gave me like, originally this card is all about good relationships and, you know, that kind of thing, but the reverse position is the lack of pleasure, like a snobbery, an exclusivity, and not good relationships, that I can have a tendency to ruin relationships if I allow myself to, which I think is where the corn dragon and my emotions for the water comes in with that garden dragon deck. And so they're a good opposite. They're a good solid opposite for me. And I think the Joie de Vivre is good for my darker self because I consider it a darker deck. It feels like a more playful, darker deck, you know, maybe even a little ornery. And I think as a person, I can be that way sometimes. And I feel like this card is my reminder that I need to take a really hard look at myself, at what I'm doing in relationships, or what I'm doing with other people, or what I'm doing in my job, in all the other 7 points, to really consider what I'm doing in that opposite direction. And that's why I think they chose. That card I think was chosen really well. Actually, I think all of them were chosen really well for my 7 counsel. And then the last one for the 7th one is Within for my counsel. And it is from the, what is it? Okay, the Fairy Blessing cards with Lucy Cavendish. And the card that I got is a blessing of a fairy guardian. She's really pretty. And this is my Within card because, and I understand why they chose to be the Within card, is because of the fairy guardian. Fairies are something I'm connecting to personally, and I kind of have throughout all of my life. So I feel like it's a good choice for the within myself as a person, as well as within in general. But in this particular deck, the guardians are given to you, or the fairies are giving you a blessing of something. And this particular one was the idea that when I was born, I was given a fairy as a guardian. And that fairy is what's within, that within side. And it can help me, it reminds myself that I'm capable, that I'm gifted, that I am a gift, that I'm a blessing, that I should recognize what I'm capable of as being a good person and stuff like that, and that I'm worthy. And I feel like that Within card really holds true for me. So that is my 7 counsel decks, and that's Oracle and Tarot all put together. I think that my decks chose well, and I'm glad that I allowed them to choose. I wasn't sure that it would work out, honestly, because I'm new to tarot, and you know, it's been about a year that I've been working with tarot fully, like as a person. And I started by myself, and then I started getting involved with other people. But I think that they're accurate. My decks accurately know me, and I've worked with these decks enough that they have my energy and sense, you know, they know me. They are within their realm of the 7 points that I want to use as my counsel. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really enjoyed doing this VR to Ouroborus, and I will put a link to her video in the description so you can go find yours, and I will also put which decks I'm using as mine in there, and I'll put each point that they are for me as well. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's VRs to this, and I'm excited to try her little exercise. I don't know if I'll get that to that today or not, but we'll see what happens. And thank you all for all the kind words yesterday. I really do appreciate it, and you guys really did help me. So thank you so much, and can't wait to see your video. So if you haven't done it yet, please do so, because I really would like to see how yours plays out. All right, you guys have a wonderful day.